Oh my gosh, you guys, did you see how the show ended this morning?
You know what? I missed it. Can you tell me?
No, I won't. I refuse.
With you line dancing?
Yeah. No, that was the show last Friday. That's a different show. You can see that online anytime. We're talking about spoilers this morning on the Today in AZ After Show. When is it okay to ruin the newest movie or TV show? For all
Joe's
your
coming in
cohorts?
hot. Ever heard of free speech?
Oh, Joe. First comment out of the gate.
Seriously,
You know what? Say whatever you want, but I don't know if you'll have much of a group
We're
of
talking
friends
about
left
ethics,
after you
Joe. We're not going to
spoil
come
it.
arrest you for ruining Game of Thrones or Avengers Endgame for us, but we are curious. When
Joe,
there's
you're
a
the
hot
man.
new media around, how long do you wait before you openly discuss it in front of company that may or may not have seen
Right.
it?
The thing is now those two are so big right now, the Endgame and then Game of Thrones. Like everybody's talking about it. So how do you avoid it? You know, if you want to see it.
First of all, you don't watch it, and you really could care less.
I
Well, I mean, I don't
would
watch Game of Thrones
I
either,
just
but-
don't care.
Yeah.
Like somebody could tell me anything from Game of Thrones, and I wouldn't know which characters they're talking about, what the plot is of the show. It's not because I don't want to watch it. I just don't have the HBO app.
I'm not into dragons and all that stuff.
It's the dragons that make you not watch it?
Yeah,
It's not
seriously.
Really
I heard
Yeah.
it's really great. Like people say.
I've
they
heard it's
really
great
love it.
too, but you know.
I don't know. The one episode I watched, there was a lot of female parts in there.
Well, that's what they say
That
too.
word.
They're like,
Wait,
oh,
what
it's
do you
really
mean?
sexual, and I'm like, well,
I was like, oh my gosh, no wonder you guys all watch this.
yeah,
Hanging out everywhere.
A lot of nudity.
hanging out everywhere. That's what they say. They're like, oh, Game of Thrones is so good. It's like a lot of nudity and stuff. I'm like,
But it's the dragons that Jimmy really can't stand. Boobs, butts, whatever. Dragons, now that's
He's
where
like,
I
I
draw
just
the
can't
line.
watch that at home with my wife.
Yeah, she hates dragons.
I watch it in the afternoon when I get home.
I have not seen any of the Avengers movies, and I know that is
Me
a bad thing
neither.
to say, 'cause I hear they're great. I have not seen a single episode of Game of Thrones either. So I'm with Jimmy on this one in that I don't really care if it gets spoiled. In fact, I just got on Twitter right before we got on the air here to see the big scene in last night's Game of Thrones episode. And I'm not going to tell you what it is if you're waiting to watch it when you get home from work or whatever. I get it. I'm not going to spoil it.
The dragon comes down. and
Yeah,
kills
no,
everybody.
it actually doesn't involve dragons at all, which I think people
Dragon
online are
gets
upset about. Just dragon parts hanging out.
Or naked people everywhere. That's what
this
it's.
conversation's dragging on.
Yeah, no one is naked in this scene. But like everyone online is talking about a thing that happened on Game of Thrones, and
Yeah.
since I don't really care, I went and watched it, and it was like, oh, that's a thing that happened. Like it doesn't mean anything to me, you know?
Tell them.
Am I allowed to say
Tell
that
them.
somebody died?
Yes. Well, that's not really a spoiler for Game of Thrones. Everyone.
But it's
dies,
like
I think.
everybody's worried about who died in each episode,
But
right? Because that's what I see people.
All the main
tweeting
characters
about.
always die in Game
Right.
of Thrones. So
Like,
that's
no,
all.
they can't kill off so-and-so.
First
I'm
they
like,
get
"Who's
naked,
so-and-so?"
and then the dragons come in, and then they die. Rinse,
kill 'em.
lather, repeat. That's the whole plot of Game of Thrones for you.
The only thing I know about Game of Thrones is the Mother of Dragons. I dress up as her every year for Game of Thrones night at the ballpark. And so I'm like, I put on the blonde wig.
Khaleesi, right?
Khaleesi, yes, and have a dragon
Weird.
on my shoulder.
See, that's fun if you can actually do something interactive with it versus.
I just saw this cool documentary. It was a movie doc. It's based on a true story called The Dirt.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy.
Oh, yeah.
And the guy from Game of Thrones plays one of the guitarists for Motley Crue. That's
and
all
so
that I
that
know.
was a pretty good one.
That's all that I know.
Yeah, that was a great one. Yeah, it's not for the faint of heart. It is.
Okay.
There's some really very adult scenes.
Yeah.
So we actually have some
No
really
dragons.
good
Yeah.
comments
Wait.
already. We're going to get to them in just a second. Let me say one more thing before
Sure.
we dive into
Yeah,
the comments.
please.
I think that there is another side to this coin in that I do want stuff spoiled for me because there is so much media right now. There's an oversaturation. I will never get to all the things that people recommend to me, ever. And I'm not even trying, quite frankly. I've kind of given up on that idea. I will watch what I want to watch when I get around to watching it. So it's kind of my own darn fault if something gets spoiled for me in advance. And in some cases, I kind of welcome it. On the show, we were talking about Steadicam Mike, who's a big horror movie guy. There was a movie that came out. What was the name of that one?
He's a what?
Horror movie guy. Yeah. Get your mind out of the gutter.
I didn't know. I didn't know he got around.
Yeah,
wasn't
right.
on Quarantine. What's the other one?
What was the super
Paranormal?
scary movie that just came out that was freaking everybody
Texas
out?
Pet Cemetery.
Chainsaw.
Not
Oh, La
Pet
Llorona.
Cemetery. No, it was before that. No, before that. Whatever it was, we were like, this is the scariest movie of all time. And Mike's like, I gotta see it. I gotta see it.
What was it?
No, it wasn't Bird Box.
Texas Chainsaw
It was
Massacre?
before Bird Box.
He'll think of it.
Well, anyway, I want him to spoil it for
Paranormal
me. Or I
Activity?
want the Wikipedia to spoil it for me, because I'm not going to watch it, but I kind of want to know what happens.
What did happen in Bird Box? I never watched the rest of it.
They got to the box full of birds and saved them all.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Nope, that's it. That's like, you're like, that's not what I remember happening.
Like what?
Okay, but I'm with you. I kind of want people to just go ahead and tell me, like, and this is a perfect example. We usually go to bed early on Sunday night when the football game, the Super Bowl is on. Okay, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, who won? Just tell me who won.
Well, sporting events are a nice way to look at that too,
Tell
right?
me.
So like there are times I actively avoid social media if I'm going to go home and watch a game, for example. I don't want to know where we're at. I want to just catch up when I get home. But there are other times too where like the result doesn't necessarily preclude me from watching. If I found out that Vanessa killed the Night King in Game of Thrones, I would probably still watch if I was into the series. Just like if I found out that my team won a game, I still kind of want to watch the game. I mean, the result isn't everything. It's about the journey, right?
Right. And you want to make your own opinion about the movies that you're watching.
Yes.
The shows that you're watching, you know?
What are you giggling
Speaking
about?
of spoiler alerts, do you guys remember how, like, you know, when the Olympics and this internet stuff first came around and NBC wouldn't show the results, and we used to have spoiler alerts. Our anchors would say, "Turn your head if you don't want to see
We
the
still
results."
do that.
But
your head if
with
what?
Twitter, it's gone. With all these,
Everything's
with
on there.
everyone, as soon as they see the results, Phelps won.
So
it goes out.
Even in Rio, we did that, and to some extent in Pyeongchang, it was like, hey, by the way, like if you don't want to, because a lot of the stuff we run on tape delay too when it comes to the
Oh,
Olympics.
all of the winners were spoiled for us because we had to know ahead of
It
time. We're
loses
like,
its
oh, okay.
fizz when it's over. Even
like,
even
when
though I
is
don't
it
know the
gonna fall?
results, I don't want to watch it. I feel like it's gone. The moment's gone, and that's why I think the power of live sports. And sports will always do well because it's live and you don't know what's going to happen. But once you've already, I'm the opposite of you. I find out something happened. I look at the score. Oh, okay, and then I just go to this, whatever website. And I look at all the highlights, and I'm done.
Yeah.
I think the people that would be bothered by a spoiler alert are the ones who are waiting in line 4 hours early with tickets in hand and costumes waiting to see these movies that they've been waiting for, which is totally fine.
With their
I
parents.
think those are the people who would be bothered with their
Well, like Roxanne said,
But I think
I don't
that's
want
smart.
anyone to tell me about the movie. That's what she said. And I figured that's how she said it because she was
Yeah, with the hands up. Nobody tell me about the movie. David says, I haven't seen any of the Avenger movies. Don't plan on it. Liberty's got a great point. She says, yes, it is your responsibility not to click on the link or inform who you are speaking that you have not seen the episode yet. Bunch of babies out there.
Bunch of
You need to
babies
have an adult conversation about it. Like, I would like to speak about Game of Thrones with you, Rachel. Do you mind if I spoil the ending? And then you would say,
Absolutely not.
I don't care at all.
I've been
Finish it.
informed that Game of Thrones has way more male frontal nudity than
Yeah.
female. So I am getting in on this.
Are those the
today.
dragons you were talking about?
Yes.
wow.
Dragging the line.
I was speaking metaphorically.
That's
lot
a
of
great
dragons
tip.
out
I
there.
appreciate that. and
Ron has a spoiler for
I don't know why
Endgame
you
in
sent
here,
it
so
to
be
me, but
careful,
I
ladies, if you're
appreciate you.
scrolling through. Ron says Thor has plenty of abs in Endgame. So
Oh,
just
Thor.
FYI.
yeah,
Oh, Thor.
I love a good set of abs.
Swing that hammer. What are you giggling about? Russell says, I took my nephew this weekend to see Avengers in 3D, and it was a great movie. I don't think that's a spoiler either.
Brother
No.
says
Doesn't
something for the
qualify.
housewives.
Debbie says she doesn't mind if she overhears a spoiler. I think one scene for me is not going to ruin it for me. If you tell me everything that
We
happened,
just
then
can't
I'm
tell you
like,
the
Jimmy,
end.
I don't want to watch.
The end.
What's
Well,
another,
if it's a
another
surprise.
movie where it would spoil it? Like what? Like the sagas, like the Twilight and things
Well,
like that.
so Breaking Bad was big, right? Because they had
Okay.
this big gap before the last season.
Yeah.
So, like, I had gotten into Breaking Bad right as the last season was starting. So I was trying to play catch up. So as the last season was kind of playing out and everyone was going nuts for it, because I think for some of these shows, the ones that become cultural phenomenons,
Yeah.
their spoilers are more prevalent, right? So like Game of Thrones is definitely one of those.
Sure.
Breaking Bad was one of those. What are some of the other big
mean,
shows?
House of
Walking
Cards.
Dead, House of Cards, like the
But-
big
That would
ones
have
that
its own
everyone is
problems,
watching.
yeah.
Sixth Sense.
But right, so we brought that up on the show. How long do you wait before it's okay to just openly,
20 years.
flippantly discuss it? So like The Sixth Sense came out, 20 years ago?
20 years ago.
And so like if you say now that the kids could see dead people all
Haley Joel
along, does that
Osment's
ruin it for you?
almost
Were you waiting to watch The Sixth Sense?
That's horrible.
Rosebud was the sled at the end of Citizen Kane. Does that ruin it for you?
Gosh, Citizen Kane. Look at
It was
that
a
guy.
sled.
Was it a sled?
It was a sled. It was a sled.
Soylent Green.
It's people.
They're eating people.
You really sell that scene, eh?
Charlton Heston.
Wait,
Yeah,
what
you're the
movie did
best.
you say they're eating people?
Soylent Green.
Which is the one where they got stranded on?
That's Cannibal Holocaust.
Gilligan's
That's a
Island.
different. That's a
No, where
horrifying
they had
movie.
to
Gilligan's
survive.
Island.
He
They
watches.
had to survive. They got stranded on a mountain and it was snowing.
In
and
Chile,
they
yes,
started
the
eating
soccer
each other's
team. Yeah.
booties.
You're talking about Castaway. That's
Yes.
Tom Hanks. Yeah, he had a
That one?
volleyball Wilson.
No.
Wilson.
You would
No,
know.
it's the one where they're.
He was
no.
alone.
I got
You know
it
what
for a
I'm talking
second.
about?
I had it for a second.
I'm like, no,
She
it's
did.
Yeah, Castaway. That's the one.
As we say in fishing, we caught her right on the lip. Got her on the lip.
Reel her in.
That was based on a true story.
Yes, it
That
was.
was a true story.
Put a microphone on you, Mike.
You
Yeah, they
can't
eat each other.
spoil a real story if you haven't heard.
Right, that's a
like,
good
I'm
point.
sorry, and we joked about like the Titanic and stuff, but guess what? You know, so that old lady, she's just a liar, right?
Yeah.
And a bit of a tramp.
Yeah, she did get
Guys.
around.
David says, spoiler, isn't that the rear wing
Oh,
on
was
my
the
car?
movie called Alive? Oh, there you go. Thank you, Darren.
She threw that stupid jewel into the freaking, but that thing was
Into
worth
the
a
ocean.
fortune. She
Yeah.
could have helped out so many people.
What was she thinking?
Yeah, that was the dumbest movie
Who
ever.
throws jewelry in the ocean?
There was some nudity in that movie, too.
There was.
I think we're sensing a trend.
That other movie was Hereditary.
Hereditary, says Steadicam Mike. That was the scary movie I was never going to watch, so I just want to know
So what happened
from
in
him.
that movie?
Scary stuff.
Right, but how?
He doesn't have a microphone on. He needs to either sit on the couch or yell.
What was the purpose?
we see you now.
He's not going to do either
All right,
one.
all right. We'll talk about it later.
Steadicam Mike is the human there, not the camera. Yeah, he's the one that's...
He is single, ladies, by the way.
Heyo.
Ah.
Look at that.
Hey,
Wow.
listen, Pamela said, oh, not Pamela. Valerie
Pamela. I
said,
love Pamela.
if I'm
My
asking,
wife.
then maybe. Listen, Jimmy, zip it for 2 seconds.
We haven't talked to each other in a few days, so we got a lot to get out.
Valerie said, if I'm asking, then maybe LOL. I love Iron Man, so I want to know. So she wants to know because she loves him.
Nathan says it's about volume control. Just don't be a loudspeaker. If you're talking with your group at a reasonable sound level and someone else is listening, it's 100% their fault. Don't eavesdrop.
Their fault.
Let's
Thank
get to
you,
our
Pamela.
ICYMI this morning. We'll take a quick break from this discussion. One of our favorite moments from today in AZ this morning, featuring the always lovely Crystal Henderson in a place you need to take your mom pretty soon.
It's not just the sights, but also the sounds at the Desert Botanical Garden right now. Electric Desert going on at night through Mother's Day weekend. There's all these cool projections that just bring the desert to life at night with so many cool colors. And then you may be wondering what I'm banging away at here. So give your pots and pans at home a break. And while you're at the Desert Botanical Garden during the day, take the family here to make some noise at Cocoon. This is a new exhibit at the Desert Botanical Garden, and it's also going on through Mother's Day. Hey, how's my wings? Are they looking good? Out here live at the Cocoon. Come check it out before Mother's Day weekend or during Mother's Day weekend before it all wraps up. Live here at the Desert Botanical Garden. Back to you in the studio.
It is so fun out there, and they have the butterfly exhibit that you can actually walk through. It's a little bit
Oh, that bugs me
terrifying.
out. Pun intended. There's nothing worse than walking into there with all these beautiful butterflies around, and then one's on you, and you don't realize it's there.
And you can't swat at it.
right.
It's
Scared of
serious.
a butterfly?
Tossed out.
Well, I don't want to smush them. I'm not there to smash butterflies.
When you go there at night, they'll have certain times of the year you can go find scorpions. They give you a light, a blue light. You can see it and they glow in the dark.
Nope.
Now, that one I wouldn't do.
That's
Oh,
too
yeah.
real,
I
man.
love that.
You know those beautiful butterflies.
Very nice.
Vanessa's like, what is wrong with these people? I don't want to spoil it for you. It's a movie called Napoleon Dynamite. This
The
is
guy, it's a low-budget film that actually
did
took
watch
off.
that.
And in
Napoleon.
it, he tries to feed a llama a tin quesadilla.
Come on, Tina. Fat lard.
I don't remember that part.
Come on, Tina. Oh. We got to get her caught up on this.
At the end of the Little
I
Mermaid,
did watch the movie, I
At the
just
end of the
don't
Little
remember
Mermaid,
that
she
part.
turns into a human and marries the prince.
no, that's a different movie.
No, that's it.
Something else.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert,
just
Uncle
wrecked
Rico
it
could
for
throw a
everybody
football
out
over
there.
them.
You guys are out of
Quarter
control
mile.
today.
That mountain.
Football quarter mile. The coach would have put him in.
Jimmy's laughing so hard he's crying. He's got some tears on his eyes.
Yeah.
We've done good on the show this morning. Are you crying about something else? You got to talk about something, man?
Looks like
Okay,
you got
all
some
right.
Said he ate too
behind
much
that.
chocolate yesterday.
I'm not doing so good.
Jimmy's just breaking down.
I
in
had
the
a
middle of
rough
the show.
weekend.
Spoiler alert, in the breakup, Vince Vaughn and Jennifer Aniston break up.
Break up.
Appropriately named.
I had 10 minutes left on that movie.
And he played a lot of video games.
Yeah, he played a lot of video games, Vince.
Guys, that'll end your relationship.
That will not even begin your relationship. Oh, Vanessa's giving.
I feel like this is getting real
Wait,
personal.
now we're going
all
to
of a sudden.
dating advice. Look at how that works
again.
out. Let's go. Let's
It always
go.
goes back there.
Robert wants us to know Happy Gilmore narrowly beat Shooter McGavin on the 18th hole. Just ruining it for you.
Gold jacket, green jacket.
All right. Darren says Batman doesn't make it. I don't know what that means. I'm hoping it's not about Endgame because he's
I
not
don't
in
know
that
anything
movie.
about that.
I don't think Batman is a Marvel character.
This is great. I think this is hilarious.
I like David.
You can only speak in code, says Shelby. I
Baby
like that
wanted
though.
lemons.
Wait, what?
In the breakup, Vince Vaughn goes, "What baby wants, baby gets." And she
Yeah.
goes, "Well, baby wanted 12 lemons. And
Yep.
so make a centerpiece." And he goes, "Well, why can't you just make a little individual centerpiece with like lemon slices?" And she goes, "No, I want you to
remember that
want to
part.
do the
I'm
dishes.
proud of that part. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, David, this is funny though. The only spoiler I want is the winning numbers to the Powerball.
Hey, Stephanie says she wants to know what time, like how much time has to pass before it can be considered a spoiler. Someone a little
12
earlier in
years.
the comment section said 1 year. You get a year for a movie or a TV
A
show.
year.
No.
The next one's already coming.
I give it
out,
just a
then.
couple. Once everyone has seen it, the majority of people.
I feel like the weekend.
Yeah.
If you didn't go see it this weekend, then
Well,
That's
no,
it.
because I'm not
Tough.
going to go watch it. I didn't watch Avengers this season. One, I didn't have time, and two, everybody was going to be packed at the theaters. It was going to be
So maybe
packed,
give it
I
a
wanna
week.
wait.
Give it a
Yeah.
couple weeks. Week or two.
Let's agree a week.
week.
Can we come to an agreement on a week for any like cultural phenomenon caliber thing?
I think so.
You know, and I'll say this now.
Especially
I
in
wanna
this
put it
day and
better
age.
perspective because I haven't seen the movies. If someone would have ruined Seinfeld, like the finale of Seinfeld for me, then I would be upset. So something a little more, because I'm trying to relate to like all the superhero movies,
Sure.
and I'm not on board with them. I don't like them or whatever as much as everybody else.
See, sporting
but if
events,
someone ruined like a
There's
show.
no window, right?
No, sporting events. You either love the team so much that you're glued to something, or you missed it for whatever reason. So you're gonna find out.
But I feel like if I went to you and I was like, "Did you see what the Cardinals did in the NFL draft?" You wouldn't be like, "No, I don't want to know."
you
Like
gotta
you'd be
tell
like,
me.
"No, tell me
Yeah.
because I don't want to look it up."
Yep. What happened?
Like sports are different almost, but I feel like the cultural phenomenon. I think maybe a week. That's all you get now. But the onus is on you as the person who hasn't seen it to
Right.
stop the other person.
Get out.
Well, I
Because-
told you, yeah, it happened this morning.
Well, especially because it's like a shared experience like Avengers, right? So like everyone's nerding out, $1.2 billion worldwide at the box office. A lot of people have seen it, and the people that have are excited about it. They want to talk about it. And so it's on you to shut them down and be like, no.
Shut it down.
Well, Rosemary and Cindy were talking about it this morning while I was getting mic'd up, and I'm like, I didn't watch it. They're like, okay, well, we're talking about it. And I'm like, all right.
So get outta here.
I'm like, let me get mic'd up and get the heck out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you just got to know that you walk away from that situation.
You
if
didn't
don't
like
wanna know.
The English Patient? I hated it.
The English patient.
Elaine, you didn't like the movie?
I'm going to step out of this conversation because I don't know all the movie
I
quotes
love-
and shows that they do all the time.
Come on
They
now.
should make Seinfeld a movie.
That
would
was.
be
I would
epic.
love to watch. Hey, but speaking of spoiler alert, did you see Josh Rosen's goodbye on Twitter?
did.
Yes.
That's classy.
I love the pitch at the end to Kyler saying that
Yeah,
if you're
he
looking
has
for
a
a
place.
T2 townhome that's
Yeah.
available. That's
At a good
nice.
price.
Yeah.
I thought Rosen handled that whole thing so well. Like we don't have to get into this like.
No, this is
wholeheartedly right now,
interesting.
but he got a lot of negative press. A lot of it from Steve Smith on the NFL Network, who, if you haven't seen that video, just unloaded on Rosen and his character for like a 2.5-minute diatribe. I don't get that at all. I never got a sense of that from Rosen. I thought he handled himself like such a
Oh my
classy
gosh, me
professional.
too.
Yeah.
Saying that he's
Process.
like a prima donna and stuff. It's like, based on what?
I mean, listen, this is some inside info
young
for
Yeah,
those
kid.
of you watching, but he, at the voluntary mini camps last week and stuff that we couldn't show you on camera, broke down the team huddles as the captain when he knew his team was drafting his replacement. And you know what he did in his last day in Arizona, right before he flew out to Miami to start his new job?
What?
He was at Larry Fitzgerald's celebrity softball game, playing with his old teammates,
Yeah, that
knowing
doesn't
he was
really
already
sound like a
traded and
punk
gone.
to
His
me.
last night in Arizona was spent with those guys. Like, that's what kind of guy that guy is.
That's awesome.
I don't get the BS about him being a bad character guy. He was never that. Maybe a little brash, maybe a little confident, but that's what you want in the face of your
Right, yeah.
franchise. I don't think he was some stuck-up kid that thought he was too good for this. I
know
never
what?
got that.
I
sense.
tweeted out on his. I said, "Prove him wrong, Josh."
Right. I hope he goes and just
I hope
smokes
this
it
dude
in
just
Miami.
smoke
Like,
show.
I really
Best numbers
hope.
ever.
Not to spite us or anything, but just like
I like
think
to
he's
see-
a good. I think he's going to do really great things in his career, and he had 12 games to prove it
Yeah.
here with us
No
in one
line,
season. Like
new team.
I mean, put anyone in that position and see how well they do as a rookie. Like, come on.
I love to see management sometimes corporate proved wrong. I love that.
It'll be interesting.
You know?
I mean, obviously we want Kyler Murray.
Well,
to be real
but
next
think
year.
about the corporate making the decision here. They didn't trade him to. Not only did they keep him out of the division, but they kept him out of the NFC. The only time they'd ever run into Rosen is the Super Bowl,
So see,
or every other couple years.
So maybe
in
they knew what they
cross-conference
had, and
scheduling.
it's just the cost of doing business. They're like, we don't want him. We don't want to compete against him.
You have to mitigate your risk there, right?
'Cause he'll-
just in
you
case he
fire
wants
up
the
the dude up.
franchise.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
exactly.
They ship him off to the other
That
side
would
of the
be a
country,
nightmare,
the
wouldn't
AFC.
it? Guys in San Francisco or
Or
Seattle,
Seattle or whatever. Yeah, I
starts
mean,
coming
San
in.
Francisco, let's say they didn't have Jimmy Garoppolo under center
Yep.
and they needed a quarterback. There's no way they would have traded Rosen there. They wouldn't have made any sense.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Can't wait.
What-
Football's
who-
coming up quick.
How, is this new guy just going to start right
he has
fresh?
to. He has to.
That's horrible.
We
it's
talked
a
about this on the
nightmare.
locker room special Saturday night. It's his team. The other guy that they have, Brett Hundley's a local kid, and I'm happy for Brett. I'm glad he's on the roster, but he's not going to start week one. This is Kyler Murray's team going forward.
This is This
what
guy
do you
needs
think of,
years to learn
You guys got
the
to kill
system.
Harry on the Patriots. What are you
What do you think
complaining
of
about?
You love it.
What's going to happen with his situation?
I heard from a very reputable source over the weekend, right before day 2 of the draft started, that Patrick Peterson was in his last day as an Arizona Cardinal, that he was being shopped extremely aggressively in Nashville, and that he wasn't going to be on the roster by the time the draft was done. And then he was. And then on Saturday night, we had the GM live in our special, and we asked him pretty pointedly, hey, what's going on here? And he said the first person he texted after he called Kyler Murray to let him know that he was drafting him was Patrick Peterson, to let him know that he was a part of the team's plans going forward or whatever, reassuring him that these trade rumors are garbage. The very first person that Steve Keim called after Rosen was Patrick Peterson. He's still on the roster. They added a ton of defensive back talent around him in the draft, and that got a lot of people thinking, oh, it's more reason to get rid of him. But I think it could be viewed the other way, too, and it's we're supporting you at that position. He's never had a guy on the other side of the defense from him that plays cornerback that's anywhere close to as good as P2 is. Maybe if you add enough of those guys in, generate a little competition. I know they signed a free agent that will start at that other corner position that's supposed to be really good. Robert Alford's his name. We'll see what happens. I think P2 wants to be the highest paid corner in football.
Well,
You want to be the highest paid traffic lady in the game. You want to be. We all do.
Yeah.
I'm working
P2
on that.
deserves it. We'll see what happens with those contract costs.
Do they have
I
a
think
line, an offensive line yet that's going to help him
They
out?
added a ton of bodies on the offensive line.
Okay.
They didn't really draft a ton of help there, though. We'll see what happens. A lot of those guys, though, are still on the roster from last year. After week 1, 3 starters were hurt.
Okay.
A few of those guys are
yeah.
back and healthy now, in addition to the new guys they brought in. So we'll see it all shapes out. Mandatory rookie mini camps start next week. Let's get to our extra shot,
Yes.
guys. In case you missed it last Friday, week 1 of Where's Gerke Going was live in Nashville, Tennessee. Coming up this Friday, we got a brand new city, a brand new set of cool stuff to show you. I'm going to be dropping clues on Facebook and Twitter all week long regarding the destination. And then on Thursday morning, once I arrived, I'll send you a video from my destination. We'll run it on the newscast. And then make sure to join us at 5 a.m. sharp on Friday when I reveal where Gerke is going. Anything that stood out from you guys from the Nashville trip you'd like to know a little bit about? I'd be happy to shed some light on it.
Wait, we were talking about the bachelorette party.
Yeah.
That,
Oh, gosh.
They were upset because all the football was going on.
NFL draft and
yeah,
stuff, yeah.
well, they were trying to plan their...
Not just the
their
draft, but that Jimmy Buffett concert at Bridgestone Arena, the Rock and Roll Marathon Series. It takes tens of thousands of people out there to run those races.
Yeah.
And
it
it was packed.
I was not aware that the draft has become this big.
It's a huge
of an
thing
event.
now. Yeah.
I mean, holy cow.
So I was in Chicago for the draft. They started changing the cities around because I think it used to just be in one place for a really long time. In New York, the Radio City Hall. I think. Yeah. And then around 2015-ish, they started granting it to cities, kind of like you'd grant the Olympics to a city. I was in Chicago when they did it in 2016, and they took over the park right there on Lake Michigan. And I thought that they blew it out. I was like, holy smokes! I didn't realize the draft could be like this. Coming back from Nashville, I cannot believe the scale to which Nashville sold out for the draft.
So 200,000
they
people or something?
and then
The
some.
3-day total was over 700,000. That was night 1 was over
Do you
200,000.
have to buy tickets, or do you just show up on the street?
You just show up on the street.
Oh, that sounds
They shut down Broadway in Nashville is where everything is.
Right, it's like
it
the
is
Strip.
the place. Yeah, it is. It's kind of like the Vegas Strip. They shut it down. No cars allowed in or out for blocks for this thing, and it was just chaos, man.
That's
Just chaos.
great controlled chaos.
Somewhat controlled.
You have to go. I was going to ask the Wild Horse Pass or
The Wild Horse
was
Saloon.
outside of the dance lessons. Were people dancing normally after that?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't get to dance with anybody.
didn't stay?
Nobody invited me for dance.
was
I'll
the
have to
outfit
find
you
out
were
for
wearing.
myself and get donuts.
Well, we'll take you to Handlebar J's.
Oh yeah,
Now that you know how to
Show
line
off my
dance,
line dancing skills.
man, you can go solo.
You gotta
Coming
find
up.
that hat though.
Come on, ladies.
More clues to Where's Gerke Going. If you got your guesses, get them in now. I'll show you some love on the show Friday if you get it right. In the meantime, we're going to go do other stuff.
Spoiler alert! We'll be here
Adios.
tomorrow at 4:30 in the morning.
Woo! And at 7:30 for another after show. Nice sport.